All right, everybody. Greetings, salutations. Welcome to the Mobster's Den. Tonight, we're just going to sit back and relax and talk about some wrestling. Now, I might go in gimmick, I might not. I got the cigar in my hand. It depends on how I'm feeling. Um, I have picked out of my collection a menagerie of things to talk about for about an hour. And we'll see what kind of traffic we get, whether or not I need to go longer than that. Uh, so tonight, my storied and long collection of wrestling paraphernalia and memorabilia. Um, some of this stuff is going on 30 years old. You know, uh, I got some stuff not in this collection in my vicinity, but I got some stuff that we're gonna showcase and talk about that's going on 40 years. You know, um, but yeah, when people get in here, and we'll start this thing up, and I'll start talking about what I've got, and I'll tell some stories, and we'll go from there. Hey, welcome. Come on in. We'll get warmed up here in a minute. Once the countdown is over, we're going to start things up. Going to talk about some wrestling. Going to tell stories. Going to have a good time. Get comfy. Hey, Tim. Good to see you, baby. We're going to wind this thing up in just a minute. We're going to talk about some wrestling stuff. Going to be fun. Something different. See how it goes. If anything, I'll entertain somebody, right? But it goes on to the feed channel for like 2 weeks, so people can see it if they want to see it. All right, fixing to go. God, I love that graphic, don't you? Hey, everybody, welcome to Vinny's little edge of the Twitch universe. Tonight, we're going to discuss some various memorabilia that I have in my collection that I've gotten over the years. Whether I purchased them myself or I got them from, my parents, because some of this stuff is old. Um, and, yeah, well, Royal Rumble, nothing. My schedule does not adhere to someone else's business. Okay, this is my business. I do what I want. Thank you. I'm glad you like it because it took me a long time to pick out which one I wanted to use. So let's start with the hat, shall we? This was actually my brother's, my little brother's. He's about 4 years younger than me. And I don't remember when he got it or how he got it. I want to say it was at a WCW show at Ball State. I want to say this, uh, but I'm not 100% certain because it was the era of the NWO coming in. This particular hat, as you can see, Sting on this side, WCW on this side, and the face paint Sting on top. It's a pre NWO Sting, so it's an old hat. It's a really old hat. Uh, but yeah, it ended up in my possession. So thought I'd throw it on because I've got various other hats I'm going to wear during my streaming. So, don't blow them all at one time. Uh, but no, this version of Sting, I don't care what you say about NWO Sting, whether it was Wolfpack or Black and White. I don't care for that crow gimmick. It was good when it first happened because it was necessary. The NWO thing, they needed a leader. Um, and it made sense at the time, but I just don't think it needed to stay. You know, it served its purpose, is what I'm trying to say. You run the story, do the bit, and then, go back once you saved the world. But, I don't think he ever saved the world. I think he just kind of drug it out and got paid. But, that's my opinion. So, let's start with more WCWO garbage, shall we? Uh, we'll start with the slow stuff. So I got this here, Monday Night Nitro, collection of those rubber figures. Well, they're plastic, but they try to imitate the rubber figures. This one here, this one right here, I got in the other room. It's a red and a yellow. Randy Savage, exact same figure. The little girl plays with that all the time. But yeah, check that out. Still in the box. Let's see if I got a price tag on this thing anyplace. No, no. Yeah, right there. $20. It was marked down at KB Toys from 25. So, let's show you the back of it. The flimsy looking imitation WWF cage, the blue steel imitation. Interesting. It is very interesting. But yeah, never took him out of the box. Hogan's got a belt on. Imagine that, right? But yeah, quite the collectible. I never really cared for those figures. I had a Craig Pittman. I had Vader. I had Harlem Heat. I had Kevin Sullivan. I had. Man, I can't remember how many different friggin' those that I had. I had a bunch. And God knows where they ended up. I know where a lot of my stuff is, but that one I couldn't tell you. I lost a lot of stuff over the years. All right, let's see. What else is kind of slow? Here we go. If you can see it, Sting, Signature Series, great big old job right here, right? Huge. It doesn't give the specifics on how tall this thing is. It's over a foot, maybe 16, like maybe 16-inch action figure. Not fully posable. The shoulders move, the hips move, the waist moves, but not the knees. And then on the back, you got your Sting and all the stats and whatnot, and then the beautiful pictures of him trying to be the Crow. Get your own gimmick, dude. I swear to you. Okay, sorry, but yeah, this one does not have a price tag on it. Nope. But there's a date. It was 98 when this thing was made, so that's how old these things are. All right. Yes. Ooh. Let's go. We'll stick with slow. We'll build it up. So I remember he telling the story the other day about me having the gold plated cars, right? Well, I dug them out. So here we go. Bill Goldberg. Okay, can you see that? Look at that. 1 in 5,000, right? I think they gave Goldberg and somebody else like one each because it says like 4,998. But uh, yeah, limited edition. Only 5,000 of these made, supposedly. Um, it was purchased for $40 back in '98. I don't know what kind of gold this is. You know, it says 24 karat gold plated. Um, what does that even mean, right? So I don't know if there's any actual gold in it or if it's just pretty. I've never opened it. I don't know. I didn't look it up. But, it's got Goldberg's face on the back of it. Him and his tattoo. But, yeah, quite the collection piece on that one. And I got another one. Check this thing out. Look at this. Huh? Another nice looking car. It's got flames going down the side. Got his name on it. And it's dusty because, man, it's buried, right? I've had these things forever. It was also $40. Never been opened. So I don't know. I don't know what it's worth. I really don't. But it's fascinating, right? Um, man, it was bought from Toys R Us. So you can imagine how long ago that thing has been around. All right, we'll stick in WCW. Okay, this is one of my favorite pieces. Check this thing out. The Four Horsemen. And this clearly is late WCW, right? This says 99. And I want you to look real close at Ric Flair's face. If you can see it, he looks like he's 12. I mean, come on. It is the most unrealistic action figure I've ever seen. Here is the back. Talks about the stats. Gives a little bit of background history of the Four Horsemen. It's a beautiful piece that's never been out of the box. I got this is Mongo's number was 76, and I saw where Dr. Death was wearing a jersey with 76 on it when I played football in high school, junior high in Mississippi. That was my number, was 76. I got a jersey right now with 75, but no, my number when I played for the varsity team was 76. So, yeah, I mean they're not great figures by no stretch of the imagination. I mean they work, but it was WCW. What do you expect? So yeah, it's a fascinating little piece. All right, let's move on to bigger and better things. Okay. Oh, you're gonna love this. You ready? Ready for this? Check this out. Don't die on me now. it is the Game Boy version of WWF Superstars. Okay. Now, keep in mind it's still in the plastic. It's never been opened. so it was $15 back in Lord. It's probably way after when it was made, when it was purchased. It was hard telling where it was purchased from, but it's an old game. In '91 was when it was made. So it's got well, I'll just put it up here. Yeah, it's got Warrior and Savage and Hogan, DiBiase, Mr. Perfect, and never been opened. So yeah, I don't know what it's worth, but I bought it. Been holding on to it for all these years. Now it's got the Attitude Era sticker right there. You see it? So it was purchased somewhere in that time period. Yeah, it's got the Attitude Era, the scribble logo. Yep, yep, yep. So you could date that probably if you wanted to, but who cares? It's interesting, very interesting. So there's that one. We're gonna do this one because I wanna. This one here is another good piece. This here is a championship title series, limited collector's edition. So we got The Undertaker, we got Rocky Maivia, we got the British Bulldog, we got Owen Hart. In the box, never been opened. And then on this side, of course, all the information and a couple of the other figures they had going on at the time. But, Rocky Maivia. So this is before The Rock. Okay. And we have an Owen Hart figure, the King of Hearts Owen Hart action figure. All right. And we got a British Bulldog when he was still the Bulldog and not, wearing the blue jeans. And, this is still him in his prime. And then we got the Ministry era Undertaker. The picture on the box, he's got the glove on, taken from the purple era, apparently. But the figure in the box has the lace, the lattice of the top he was wearing at the time. So that's a Ministry Undertaker going on right there. So yeah, you gotta know what you're looking at. And these I got all of these figures someplace. Every single one of these action figures I have someplace. Yep, yep, every one of them. So we'll dig those out because they're not all in the box. What had happened was there was a flood, and I lost a lot of things. Uh, but the stuff that I did get to keep, a lot of the mice got into, so I took them out of the box, all the little parts, because the boxes were damaged, and I put them in bags with all of the stuff that came with it, so that it would keep better protected. And we'll do that on another time. This is today. We'll do that later. And you're gonna like this one. I like this one. This one was $20 when it was purchased, and it is a Stone Cold T-shirt edition of the Attitude Era Stone Cold. So the Bad to the Bones package. There's 4 figures and a trash can in here. And every one of these has its own T-shirt, and again, never been opened. So the apparently, if you ask in my opinion, there's 3 different models inside this package. The one in the center being the most recent. The one on his left, on my left, on his right is the oldest, and then the one on my right is probably the one in the middle. But you can see clearly the design differences of the faces, you know, and the arms is just a different time period. And we'll let you look at the back because the back has, you know, another glimpse of history. You got Mark Merrow on there. You got Mark Henry. You got a Triple H from the era of the Aristocrat. And you got those Stretch Armstrong looking action figures. But yeah, really nice. Another really nice piece. It's got some Collectors Club membership card on the bottom, if you want to see that. Apparently you could become a member of some club and get rewards. Free poster. That's Jack specific. That's where that's from. All right. Now we're going to get into the fun stuff. Fun for me, maybe, but not so much for you. So, here we go. WCW action figure. We got Sting. And this is a leather trench coat. Leather trench coat is real. Rubber, but it's not like cloth or nothing. And not in the box, obviously. And I probably played with this back in the day. I'm not going to lie. Probably did. I played with all my figures back in the day. But, yeah, quite fascinating. Apparently, oh, there he goes. He's got some kind of an action going. Still wakes. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Still wakes. Wonder what the point was. Oh, I bet you it was death drop action. I almost guarantee it was death drop. Boop, boop, boop. Hook the guy's head. Yep, almost guarantee it. So he didn't come with nothing because he doesn't have a grip for baseball bat. So, all right, now we're gonna get into story time. Story time goes a little something like this. Here we got Dude Love. Okay, so Dude Love, Mick Foley, out of the box. Clearly, it came in a three-piece, right? Because I got all three of them. But this one got the right hand action. Still works. Gotta love that. Oh, look. It's a Dude Love, and I say gotta love that. That's a Dalton Love reference. Get me out of here. I've been hanging out with that guy too much. Gotta love that. There's your plug, Dalton. You're welcome. Looks better on him. Yeah, okay, sorry. Okay, so, yeah. I'll have mercy on the back. Not my favorite gimmick, but it was good that they let him do it. Because, it's kind of like the Bray Wyatt thing. You come up with it, it's your puppy. Why not, right? And then we got little Mankind, okay? And this is not, nope, this is not the era of the bone crunching action, I don't think. Nope. Nope. But, check this guy out. He's got mandible claw action. I like this. So you take the guy's head and you'd go whap, and he'd put the mandible claw on. Ugh. Man, it was a great time period to be a wrestling fan. With this guy, he falls off the cage, right? Bump. Okay, and then my favorite thing in the whole world, Mr. Bang Bang, Mr. Bang Bang, Cactus Jack, and he doesn't do nothing, But Mr. Bang Bang came with the barbed wire baseball bat. So let me tell you a little story about old Mick Foley. When Mini Vinny, whoa, wait a minute. When Vinny was Mini, how about that? Not my Mini Vinny, but when Vinny was Mini, back in the era of when was this? This was pre-Attitude Era, I suppose, or right during the beginning of the Attitude Era. Foley had left the Fed, or left WCW for the Fed, but that's the way history tells you the story. The way I'm telling you the story is that Foley went from WCW to the Independents, and he was working for people that he knew. I went to a Deep South wrestling show in Meridian, Mississippi, and there was a Mid-South wrestling. I don't know if it was the Mid-South, but it was a Mid-South show. And they had guys like Abdul the Butcher. And I've got the tickets. I can go get them out of the safe. I got the tickets that I had that day. Abdullah, the Rock and Roll Express, Buddy Landell. It was a star-studded card, but they were shooting 3 different shows, at one time. So they would shoot one show, they'd take a break, they'd shoot a second show, and they, the third show, and the stars would come in and out and back and forth, signing autographs and winding the crowd up, and for a guy who this is like my fourth or fifth wrestling show, right? And I'm sitting in the front row. I used to have the tape when I was VHS collectible. I don't think I still own it, but I used to have the tape where I was sitting in the front row, and so this show goes on, and Foley ain't done nothing hardcore all night, and I says to Foley, during one of the autograph moments, I said, "Man, you ain't done nothing." I I said, "Could I throw you a steel chair or something in the middle of this match coming up?" And he says, "Let me go back to the back, and I'll come back and find you." So he goes back till does what he's got to do. And now that I had been in the business, I understand what he was doing. He comes back to me, and he says, "You know that clothesline that I do, or I roll over the top rope, land on the floor?" And I says, "Yeah." And he goes, "I'm going to do that right on your side of the ring, and I want you to hand me that chair you're sitting in." Fine. So this is the infamous story that I like to tell, where I'm sitting in the chair, and the match goes on forever because he's working the spoiler, and the spoiler's doing the claw the whole time. And he'd get out of it, and he'd go right back to it, and he'd get out of it, go right back to it, and doing what wrestlers do. But for me as a kid, it's like anxiety, man. So 3 years go by, and this match finally gets to the point where here comes the move. He had crotched him, with the back of his leg, got free of him, wound him up, threw him across the ring, hits the clothesline, goes over the top, lands on his knees, looks at me, says, "Give me the chair." So I stand up, I go to put my hands on the chair. My grandmother's sitting behind me. She shoves the chair out from under my hands. I never touched it. Foley scoops it up, walks around, smashes him with the chair. I go and get it, bring it back, open it up, sit down in it, and the back of it's bent, so I got to push it all back in. But that was my first experience doing something in a wrestling match in, '94, maybe, you know. So, fast forward a million years later, I go and I see Foley at uh, Bloomington doing his comedy bit, and that's what we're telling this story, and his answer is, "Well, if that's what happened, I'm glad that happened for you." And, he probably doesn't remember. I mean, he's been all over the world on a million matches, but he's been hit in the head a lot, so he probably doesn't remember a whole lot of what actually went down. So, uh, working with wrestlers who do hardcore things, I understand this now. So I don't take it personal, Uh, when I was on America Online and they were doing Mick Foley as a guest, I got in there one time on a chat room and I started telling his story, and he messaged back that he had recollection of said story. So at that time, and then at the DCCW show in Portland, I saw Foley again, and I didn't bother the man, but it was really surreal for me to go from a guy who was a fan, who watched the guy work, to go to a show where Foley is, to quote unquote watch me work. It was it was a really cool moment for me. So those figures are very, very important to me. And then here's the next piece. It's a Hulk Hogan cake pan. Yeah. You make cake out of Hulk Hogan. I've never used it. It's a little doity on this side. Never used it. Isn't that sad? Okay. Next piece is a little more involved. This thing. This thing. Come on. Come on. Give me a second. I'm waking. I'm waking. It's a time capsule. Okay. It's actually a popcorn tin. There we go. Listen, it's airtight. And the product in here is still good, so shut your mouth. Okay. I don't normally sit this far away from the computer, so I'm getting this stupid cord coming around the front of me all the time. So this here this here tin, is my collection of, not my entire collection, mind you, is a collection of wrestling magazines. And there's just enough in here to probably keep us entertained for the next few minutes. Let's check this first one out. We got an atom bomb, Tatanka Diesel. This is clearly in that weird time period before we had the Attitude Era. You know, there's a Undertaker with the black and gray. There's a 1, 2, 3 kid in here. Okay. Oh, look at this. Look at this. The ice cream bars. Look at this. Ridiculous. Friggin' ridiculous. I tell you what. So, you know, this was the internet of the old days. This is how they pushed people. Hey, good to see you. I saw the picture. I couldn't put 2 and 2 together. Yes. You tell me who I'm talking to while I'm talking. But yeah, check that out. Bastion Booger, the late Luna Vachon, the late Jack Tunney. You know, Bastion Booger was another one of those gimmicks that, while disgusting, it was that weird part of the era. You know, the Dwight the Clowns and the Damien Dementos. You know, the early Monday Night Raw where he just had some of the strangest crap going on. Oh Lord, Scott Hall. I tell you. What else we got going on in here? Ludwig Borga. Okay, look. Most of the guys that I like to work are stiff as. The guys I enjoy working with are all stiff. 20 years. Man, I've known some people. Check this out. At the Brooklyn Brawler. But it was a good change for his gimmick. He did something different, you know. Now we got a new MVP, you know. Marcus Montavious Porter, Montavious, or whatever the hell he calls him. Man, you gotta get. Listen, you know how many times I get hit in the head on a regular basis? I can't remember what I did this afternoon, let alone. Oh. That's what I thought that picture was. Yeah. Glad to have you. I'm entertaining you, and that's good for me. I love you. All right, what we got in here? We got an early spark plug Holly. You know, when he was actually doing the bit with the racing. You know, Thurman Plug. Thurman Sparky Plug, and he ends up changing his name. Oh yeah, and oh god, what was his name? Johnny Polo. When Johnny Polo was that's Raven, you know, with his mic in his hand right there, you know. It's thank you. You gotta do something once the wrestling thing is over, and I like doing this. But yeah, you know, Raven, the most hardcore guy in the world, for a long time, a very loved, a violent professional wrestler. Okay, he did time with Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon, you know, on Monday Night Raw. Well, not Monday Night Raw, but doggone it, the other wrestling show with those two idiots. Um, my brain's locked up. So they've been around for a long time, and people don't really associate Raven with that Johnny Polo era. But man, it was important, and it reminds you how old Raven really is. He's been around a minute. Hey, there's Fatu and Samu and the post demolition crush, and there's some really really cool stuff out there. Uh, and Tatanka, hey, I've met Tatanka. From all people I've ever talked to, he's not been exactly Johnny Flamingo, Johnny Polo. But yeah, I think it was Johnny Flamingo on the first run. You might be right. You might be right. And his Bret Hart with his back when they were allowing him to make money off of his drawings. He was doing these drawings. He's always been good at it, but they could let him make money off of it. A gimmick is a gimmick. Let him sell it, right? Oh man, got him on T-shirts and everything. Good, great. I had this shirt. This one here, I had that one. I did. Oh, really? Yeah, that probably didn't go over very well. Yeah, I would say that probably did not go over very well at all. Man, that's some cool stuff. It's like a time capsule in and of itself. Not just the tin, but the magazine. I don't want. Oh, here you go. Here's Bray Wyatt's dad, right? Little Erwin R. Shyster after the end of the Mike Rotunda run, in WCW. I mean, there was nothing wrong with that gimmick. The varsity, you know, it's like I told J Beef. I said, you got to graduate. You can't just be you can't just be in this position all the time. You got to graduate. Then once you graduate, you can be the mentor to the new, frat boy. You have to move the gimmick along. So yeah, he could have become the coach rather than the varsity squad. He could have kept the whole stable and just been the coach rather than, but he still would have wrestled. You know what I'm saying? But work the gimmick. We don't get to write the stories; they get written for us. But it's Bam Bam Bigelow. That is a big mean dude, and the dude could move. Good night, that man could move. And he doesn't get enough credit for the amount of years he put in. He just doesn't. He was absolutely amazing in the ring. Spent a lot of time. Yeah, we just play the roles, baby. That's all it is. Yeah, Bammers was tough. Buzz Sawyer. Buzz Sawyer was another one that was tough as nails. There's a picture of him right here um, with Captain Lou Albano. And people go, Buzz Sawyer, what are you talking about? The Thunderdome era. Okay, I mean right before the Mad Max thing. Buzz Sawyer and the Great Muta, Gary Hart, that transition from NWA to WCW, just some really, really tough matches. And then, a tragic ending of his life, but great, great wrestler. Sticks in my memory pretty damn solid as a kid. Uh-oh, this one's tore out. It must have been when I was little, I would take the posters that I liked and I'd put them on the wall, and the whole wall was covered in top to bottom. Because it was a wooden wall, right? I stapled them to the wall. Oh my. Well, the era of the paneling. Uh, I don't want to look at Diesel. We're good. Hard pass. Eh, gimmickry. Gimmickry. Another sad thing is he pointed out in this magazine is the bushwhackers. Watching the NWA and the territories, the bushwhackers were the sheep herders. And those guys could work. They were just silly ass, gimmick men. They could work. Let's see what's going on in this one. This one doesn't have a cover, so I can't tell you what it is. It's a WWF magazine. There's a Londra Blaze. Check that out. A Londra Blaze. And we got Luga. We got the Head Shrinkers. There's an old Lou Albano and an Owen Hart right there. And then these things, I collected all these things. Got them all. I love it. I miss these days. This was when wrestling was still really, really impressive. It hadn't gone completely to crap just yet. It was still good storytelling. And I don't see anything in here thus far. What we got? Who is this? Oh, the USA Network. It's funny. Okay. Duke the Dumpster Drozy. That was another good gimmick. What is this? They're matching up. They gimmicked us with this at the time, but now we know better. But Alpha and Sika against the Head Shrinkers, toe to toe, who would win? Right? And they don't give you. It doesn't really give an answer as to who would win. But in my opinion, you can't beat Alpha and Sika. I don't give a shit who you are. Those guys were tough. Oh, okay. It was the Undertaker versus Brian Lee era from this magazine. Bull Nakano. That was a fun time period. Come on. Ooh. I have the plate. That plate right there. Right there. Yep. Still got it. Quite the collector's piece, baby. I was a huge Undertaker fan, and I don't know who. Oh, there's that shirt. So this shirt right here, that one there, I've got that Undertaker shirt. It's got holes all in it, but you know what? It's mine. I'll never let it go. It's a timeless piece for me. It means everything. What in the... none of this is important. It's recap stuff. None of this is important. There's backstage pictures that are gimmicking you from SummerSlam. Yeah. It's just gimmick pictures. Now that I'm in, and done what I've done, you look at this stuff and you go, this is some really stupid stuff. Oh my goodness. Hey, there's some old wrestlers in this one. Nah, this magazine was a dud. We tried. One more. We'll do one more. Yeah, it'll be too big. Let's not do that one. Let's find another WWF magazine. Keep things on topic. Here we go. If you're still there, here's the time period. Bigelow, NLT, Lawrence Taylor. Yep, that was a good gimmick. It sold tickets. It sold a lot of tickets. Right now, I'm looking. I'm seeing. I don't see anything of a young William Shatner. Oof. Oh, here you go. There you go. Man Mountain Rock. Right there. You see that dude? He came out of WCW. He was he was wrestling as Cactus Jack's tag team partner. Um, and I forgot what they called that tag team. But he had this finisher called the whammy bar, and I use it because nobody. I think it's a Fujinara arm bar. I think it's what it's actually called. But I use it as a finish, you know. But that's what I call it, is the whammy bar, and I probably will the rest of my life. Um, he's a big dude, not very athletic, but he was tough. You know, it made sense to put him with Cactus Jack, and then Mantar. You know, the Joey Venom of professional wrestling. That's not nice. You shouldn't say things like that. Okay, and we're looking, we're seeing. There's Bret Hart and Diesel all over this magazine. Good, yeah. Earthworm Jim. There's a non-wrestling related incident. Earthworm Jim. Very difficult video game if you didn't get a chance to play it. And we got a Shawn Michaels expose. And we got the Lawrence Taylor and the Bam Bam Bigelow gimmick. And yeah, more Diesel Bret Hart. So that was the era that we're in. And his Jeff Jarrett and Razor Ramon. Undertaker and IRS. Oh, that was the $1 Million Man stable. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that time period. It's good stuff. When he had King Kong Bundy. Yep. There's a Dirty Dick Murdoch in the middle of the Royal Rumble. Isn't that going on tonight? Who cares? Let's see. Yeah. Dirty Dick Murdoch. The old days. Yeah, who else we got in here? Bob Backlund when he was nuts so crazy. Oh my goodness, the Smoking Guns. If he was doing what he was doing today in this time period, he'd have been gone. Here you go. Yeah. Is that Hakushi? Hakushi. As Bobby Heenan said, he's got the entire menu written all over his body. And canceled. Poor Bobby. Good thing you're dead, baby. You would never make it today. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. See, yeah. I like having these things around just because of the memories that are in here. The pictures themselves trigger a million thoughts. And then, of course, Monday Night Raw is War on the Super Nintendo. Yep. Man, to go back to being a kid again, right? All right. All right. Enough of me running my mouth. So, next time we have a sit down chat, I'll break out some more of my paraphernalia and my. I'm marking my spot in this thing so I can use it next time. Because I've got PWI magazines in here. I've got The Wrestler. I've got, just Inside Wrestling. Oh, look, during the OJ trial. Man, don't start with me. New Wave Wrestling. There's an old Mark Merrow. There's a lot in this time capsule. So we will come back to it at a later date. Meanwhile, let me tell some sort of wrestling related story. So let's go Deep South Wrestling. Where it was a Frank Cochran Center, and I went to several of these shows. It was my first time going to a wrestling show. as a kid. My grandmother took me with a good friend of mine. His name was Kevin Jackson. Uh, we went there because the demolition was booked, and Devastation Incorporated was going on. So I went down there looking to see him, and I meet guys like uh, Eric Watts and Bull Payne and Hillbilly Cousin Luke and Hercules and Terry Taylor and man, it was a lot of talent, and it was Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson's a legend. He's still wrestling. He's still friggin' wrestling. And he wasn't no young puppy when I watched him when I was a kid. So we're talking about 30 years later, and he's still going. I've seen interviews where he's super popular because of what he is. He's always been a Christian, so that was part of the draw. You know, uh, all of his autographs had a cross on them. Um, yeah, I remember because my brother, or I think it was my brother actually, that got his picture and autograph. So I have to have it around here someplace. Um, anyway, I watched Hercules and Terry Taylor go at it live and in person, and I told this story before, but during the match, Hercules, you know, takes Terry Taylor by the back of the head and he flips him into the out of the ring into the front of the crowd. And back then, they still had the steel barricades. And right where I was sitting with my legs crossed, the barricade, had that hinge. He hits it. It comes this way and bangs me right in the knee. I mean, it hurt. But so what? It's something that happened, and you will remember that the rest of your life. Whether it's like when someone gets launched into the crowd, rather than immediately throw a lawsuit at somebody. It's a moment. Enjoy the moment. So they were having a feud. It was Hillbilly Cousin Luke and Demolition Axe. They were having a feud, and in Cousin Luke, he was one of the actual legit hillbilly family, that was part of the actual stable. And he was this solid, chunky dude. I mean, he was big, but he was thick, and wearing the coveralls, and the white shirt underneath. And he had this horseshoe. I mean, it's a gimmick. I'm sure that Hillbilly Jim used. They had the horseshoe on the chain, you know. So him and Axe are going at it, and they're just pounding the absolute hell out of each other. And they ended up on the floor, and Axe takes that horseshoe off of wherever they had it outside on the table, takes it, and just smokes him in the head with it. It was great to see him in that time period. I know he's 75, 76 now, Bill Eadie, but Bill, people don't want to give him credit for that whole time period of the Masked Superstar. The Masked Superstar is, and the Super Machine is the legacy, the real legacy of Bill Eadie. He's stuck with the demolition thing as the what everyone's going to know him most for. But that's you have to go back to black and white TV of watching him wrestle Andre. That the man is a god, and people do not think of him that way. Crusher Khrushchev, Barry Darso, again, Crusher Khrushchev, gimmick wise, not the best choice, right? But work. Watch him work. Couldn't cut a promo to save his life. Smash, he'll pass. But Crusher Khrushchev in the ring, yeah, I enjoy watching him work. It's the brutality, It's what drove me into the love of professional wrestling. Those two guys. So I don't remember watching the Eric Watts the Eric Watts matches or the Bull Payne matches. Um, there was a lot of great wrestlers in that ring, and it was done the old-fashioned way, where there was a single light over top of the ring, and it was like a boxing. It was very very realistic, and that's a part of wrestling they will probably never get back, because everyone likes the bright lights and the pyro and the yada yada yada. Man, you give me a wrestling show where it's just real workers, and they're under the single light. Me and Baron von Kane had the privilege, and he won't say this. He'll say it was an absolute disaster, but we had the privilege of working inside of a Masonic lodge, under the one light designed for the Holy Bible Square and Compass. Um, and no, you can't see. Once you get in that periphery of the light in the corners, you can't see. I hit him so hard he popped him in the air. He lost his balance for like 5 minutes. Couldn't stand up. And then once he got his balance back, I popped him in the eye, and he couldn't see for another 5 minutes. he, he he hates me. He hates my guts. But man, talk about if he and I had been able to get together, 10 years prior to our meeting, we could have made magic. We really could have. But here we are at the end of our leash, and uh, so the Deep South era was a very great set of matches. Jack Reynolds, I think, was the name of the promoter at the time. I want to say it was Jack Reynolds. He had Parkinson's. You could see it. He's sitting there and he's just a shimmering. Um, but that was the name of the guy running the show, and I do believe he was somebody important in the territories at one time. Uh, but yeah, man, that organization ran the old-fashioned way, where you couldn't talk to the heels. So I had to sit around and wait for everybody to leave in order for Axe to come out and sign my autograph. And I've got that poster, and I'm going to show it next time we have a sit down talk, because I know right where it's at. It's in a safe spot. Um, the guy's autographed in several places, to be honest. Uh, that was one of those opportunities that I wish I would have got, but it is what it is. Life is, I understand heart condition. I understand 76 years old. You put me in the ring with Axe right now, and I'm gonna make him look like $1 million, because that's my God. There's nothing that gets any higher. Yeah, you put me in the ring with Ric Flair. I have a lot of respect for Ric Flair. I I will bump 1 million times for that guy. No problem. He's a god to me, but he's never going to reach, in my heart of hearts, he's never going to reach that point in my existence that made me love wrestling. Ric Flair made me love heels. Um, he made me understand heels, but as far as the character work goes, Bill Eadie was a legend, and it's a damn shame that he'll never get Hall of Fame while he's alive. It's a damn shame, because even if they don't induct Demolition because of what he did with the name thing, which is all personal, but the Matt Superstar should absolutely already be in the Hall of Fame. That's a legend above legends. So I think I run my course for the day. I can't. I'm gonna refresh this and just take a look. See, yeah, I've run my 1 hour time limit, and everyone's watching the Royal Rumble, and that's perfectly fine. I understand. Not gonna hurt my feelings, but I put the stories at the end of this clip on purpose because then I say, hey, you got to go watch my video, but you got to go wait to the end to hear me talk about shit that I've done in my life. So I want to thank you for sitting down with me and being part of this. We'll do this some more, you know. And as we build the mob grows, the mob becomes bigger. It becomes its own creature. Uh, you know, we'll branch out. We'll do more things. I'm gonna do butchery. You know, I'm gonna set this thing up. I'm gonna bring my tools in here. We're gonna cut meat. We're gonna cook. We're gonna eat. You know, there's a lot of things that Vinny does that is gonna entertain you. So go tell your friends. Come back and see me. Ah, I love you. Hasta la vista. Night night. Bye bye. Go to bed. I'm out of here. If you need me, I'll be in the back drinking. So tell your friends, tell your wife, tell your girlfriend, then your other girlfriend. And I'll see you next time.